All righty. Here we are. Welcome, 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 everybody, to New Earth Rising. Woohoo! We are both sitting in the new earth. We are coming to you from the new earth. It's happened, and we're so excited. We will now be doing our shows from the new earth from now on. And so we hope that you appreciate and understand that it's happened. Woo! We won. I am Michele Amburgey, and I'm so happy to be here with you. Everything is going as planned. We're going to be talking about some really fun stuff today. And of course, I'm here with my co-shenanigator, Sharon. And we have our backgrounds all lined up because the new earth is so bright and shiny. We didn't want to blind you. So we have like toned down little new earth backgrounds, but it's exactly like this.
It is.
We had to moderate the light because it's so bright.
Like us, right? So we
got to wear shades.
I know, right? It's so it's so funny because, well, I am at the beach right now. Michele has the beach right next to her, right? So she's always at the beach, and I'm at the beach in Washington right now. So I thought to myself, I'm going to put the beach as my background. Michele shows up when we meet here, and she has the beach as her background. We're like, like you said, we are in 5D, and that's where we are.
Totally.
Yeah, and wow, it's amazing. Couldn't be better. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here again. We are we are recording from the beach in 5D reality, from the ocean. Yeah.
From the water worlds of New Earth.
Yes, New Earth. We are here. We are there. We are everywhere.
We are everywhere. And that's part of what we're talking about today too. You know, it's so funny, Sharon and I say this a lot when we get rolling, is we have these like amazing conversations. All of a sudden, like, oh my God, we need to be recording this. So we're going to try to backtrack a little bit, but we're talking about some heady stuff. Timelines, Mandela effects, deja vu, all that kind of stuff, because it's happening. And I'm wondering how many of you are starting to have experiences or having more experiences or more intense experiences. Sharon and I were talking about just deja vu right before we got on. And she was saying that she just had one like a little bit ago before you got on. And I did too. But it was almost like, I felt almost like I literally went through the veil and came back again. I was telling Sharon, it was like this. Like I just literally went through the veil. I was kind of moving in slow motion because I wasn't sure what was happening. I was doing accounting work. And then I was listening to somebody talking about timelines and shifting timelines. And then he moved like right into deja vu. And all of a sudden I'm going, oh my God, I'm having deja vu. Oh, there's that paper I need. I didn't think I had anymore. It was the weirdest experience. And it's happening a lot. It's happening a lot. And Sharon, you had said that you had something too happen.
Yes.
What happened with you?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, are we? We're starting to break up.
Yeah.
Oops.
Are we good?
No. Is your internet weird over there?
It said it was, well, yeah, in a condo, so it's shared, but it said it was unstable, but I can hear you. You can't see or hear me?
I can see you and hear you, but you were freezing up.
Okay.
And then you'd be moving and talking, but then the sound wasn't there.
All right.
It was a little bit back and forth.
Am I good now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Yes, the deja vu. Your question was about the deja vu?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, my dog and I were out on the beach earlier, and I was looking at the people as we're coming back, people sitting there, because it's a beautiful day here in Washington on the ocean. And people are sitting there looking out at the ocean, just sitting there because it's warm enough to sit out there, which is kind of unusual up here. And they're sitting up against logs and sitting in chairs, and not that many, maybe 10, 12 people. And everyone is sitting there looking at the ocean, and no one is really moving. They're just gazing, ocean gazing. And it hit me, I've seen this before. It felt like it was almost ancient, where we've done this many, many times, where we sit here and gaze at the ocean.
Ooh.
It was really weird. And we're all just sitting there. It was almost like waiting for something. I can't explain it.
You know, it's weird because when you're talking about that, I'm feeling like everybody sits there and there's a waiting, but there's like a connection of the minds.
Mm.
And then being there in that
space. That space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there wasn't any, and that I saw, there wasn't anyone that was really communicating. There weren't kids playing around or anything like that. It was just ocean gazing with people sitting here looking out at the ocean. And it brought me to, so actually, now that I'm talking about it, what I'm realizing is it brought me to so many timelines. It was like a bunch of time, not like it, I felt that a bunch of timelines were merging. And I've got goosebumps up and down. We're merging together. And the only time I've ever felt this before, like this type of thing, was when I've been in the ceremony, plant medicine ceremony, and it was with psilocybin. And the group that I was with, there we had a shaman that would lead us in it. I've done it 3 times, I think, and twice. Yeah, I think. And we're all sitting there. She has this big picture window in her home, and we're all sitting there in the medicine, gazing out of the window. Wow. Without saying anything. We're just gazing out, and I realized we have done this before. And I got this intense knowing that we go to do our job on the planet in the lower density, then we come back here to heal or become aware of whatever it is that we are, where we need to be, cleansing, whatever it is. And we sit there and we do that together. And I turned to one of the people in the group, and he looked at me and I looked at him, and he said, like, this is weird. And we both said at the same time, we've done this before. We both knew that we had been there before, and that we do this on a regular basis.
And it makes sense, because ritual and ceremony and sitting in space like that used to be a very common thing.
Right.
Yeah. And like, I know even like with tribal stuff, I used to do the sweat lodges and all that kind of stuff. And you would sit in quiet together. And then, having a common like visual or staring, like ocean gazing, which I love that, gazing out the plate glass window on something. I mean, what a beautiful way to connect mind, body, and soul.
Right.
Yeah, and the converging timelines, and what just popped into my head too is we each have our own timeline.
Right.
And we're traveling parallel timelines. And this is just popping into my head. I may be wrong. I may be right. Most likely right, because I'm a Virgo. But
exactly.
But it's like we're bringing all of our timelines together. And you made that comment about the people gazing and bringing timelines together. And it just popped into my head. Maybe that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Merging timelines.
Yeah. Bringing all of our timelines together.
Yeah. Before we move on to that, because we wanted to talk about timeline manipulation, stuff like that. I love that. That makes a lot of sense. And I believe that's what soul retrieval is all about too, is bringing those timelines in.
Yes.
Bringing all that, the fragmented timelines. When I also, during those ceremonies, there was a couple, with psilocybin, there was 2, but I've done other ceremonies with her in her space, the shaman space. At one point, the reality around us disappeared, and I could see the walls were a metal. I knew that we were in a freaking ship.
Yeah.
We were not in her house. Her house was a ship. It was the how do you put it? The facade of a house, a home, a house. But we were actually in a ship.
I love it. And it goes back to what is reality?
Mm-hmm.
What is reality?
Yeah.
It's like and I think that's part of what this great awakening is shedding these layers of what reality has been to maybe find a new reality.
Yeah.
Is it all just a different reality? Is the ship as much a reality as the house? I mean, you start moving into that and the brain starts like going blah, 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 it starts bubbling.
Right. So we're not really moving around. We're not really going anywhere. We are telling ourselves we're doing that from a higher perspective. That is the reality. we that's the reality, is we're telling ourselves that we're moving, that we're we're walking on the beach, or that we're moving around and we're eating or whatever we're doing. But when we see through the veil of the reality that, which is an amazing world, and 5D, of course, where we are.
Good catch.
I know, right? then we see that we're actually not going or moving anywhere. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, we're just
Okay.
experiencing it,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not actually doing it.
Right.
And are we actually even a something other than just consciousness, experiencing something physical? But like if we're experiencing walking, we're experiencing being at the beach, we're experiencing eating, we're experiencing, doing accounting today, but who's experiencing, right? What is it that's experiencing? Is it another person? Is it a dog? Is it a flea? Is it a cloud? Or is it just existence?
Yeah.
Experiencing itself, which I've heard that said before.
Sure.
And to peel away the layers of being connected to being some type of physical form, that's trippy.
I know, right? I know, because it's, yeah, like you're saying. And so when we connect to others in this reality of that not really doing anything, when we're connecting, we're just telling ourselves we're doing it.
Wow.
We're guiding ourselves to do things, to walk across the room, or to sit here and talk to each other. So in that sense, when we connect to others, are we really we're telling ourselves that we have this physical connection with them, or whatever the connection is. So we're connecting to the consciousness, like you're saying, Michele. We're connecting to another part of that consciousness, the soul that is Michele, the soul that is whoever we're talking to at the grocery store, or whoever I see on the beach, or something like that. We're connecting in that way through our perceptions, our senses, but we're really not here.
The senses are projections of the consciousness that we really are.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that holographic universe kind of thing, where we're not actually this. We're just a projection up from the mind, the consciousness,
Right.
of whatever that existence is, which we're all one.
Right.
So it's all projections from the same one consciousness.
The infinite intelligence.
Wow.
Infinite
yes.
intelligence.
The eternal now, the eternal loving presence that makes those words that we use to describe what has sometimes been called God or goddess or creator,
right,
more potent to think of it that way too. And so this is just a projection. It's a beautiful one. So
I know, right? Right.
Wow, what power that gives us.
Yeah, it does. And what gets in the way of what we want and desire is the filters.
Yeah.
The filters that we've put in place because of
And
pain.
getting maybe trapped into densities,
Right.
trapped by other consciousnesses, maybe.
Yeah.
But if we're all one, does that really work? When you look at what's happening on the planet right now, there's a lot of consciousness trapping because there's a projection of marketing and sales and manipulation and all this stuff.
Right.
That
Going to what we were going to talk about, the timeline manipulations. And yeah, and that makes a lot of sense when because we've forgotten. We used to know this.
Yeah.
We used to know this. And I think that's part of the deal, right? Has been part of the deal is we choose to drop down in frequency and to experience
and probably
physicality.
Swear we'll remember this time. My God, I will remember.
And we are remembering this time.
Are.
It just took a while, I guess. I don't know, but it's all just now. So it's experience after experience.
Yeah.
And if you look at all of our experiences, someone described it the other day she had a near-death experience, and she was showing, I've seen this before too, which is.
Yep, you're breaking up. Oh, I think we're frozen for good now.
Hit the start button or whatever on the roulette wheel.
You froze up a little bit there. You're frozen for about a minute.
Oh, wow. That's a long time. Okay. Could you hear me at all?
No.
Okay.
But you looked really cute.
Oh, well, good. That's all that matters, right? All right.
You projected that really well.
Okay. Well, good. All right. So I just need to fix my projector. All right. So did you hear did the part about the roulette wheel come through?
No.
Okay. Well, she was talking about in her near-death experience where she saw like lifetimes like a roulette wheel, all of her lifetimes, like on a roulette wheel, each spoke in the roulette wheel was a lifetime. And she could have stopped at each one of those lifetimes. And she chose to stop at this one when she came back into this life, right? And I don't remember where I was going with that. But the now, how the only thing that's real is the now, the here and now. And so we can have that choice when we go within, get on that roulette wheel and say, hey, I want to go to this lifetime or that lifetime or that experience, that expression.
And we can make new ones up all along the way too, I imagine.
Sure. Future and past. Yeah. It's all on that wheel.
Yeah. and it's fascinating because, I know a lot of people, it's neat because we're starting to understand the wording of this new earth too. These words of, consciousness and matrix and hologram and, all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of people, and we've talked about it. I have this idea in my head too, that we're in a prison planet, that we've been trapped here, that it's been going on for a very long time, that there's a war between dark and light, a war for the souls of the God beings, that those that are here of the light, in true light are here with that and all this stuff. And what keeps popping into my head is, well, if we know that, why the hell do we keep coming back? Why don't we stop coming back, let them do whatever the heck they're going to do, annihilate themselves, and then we can come back to Mother Earth after it's over? And so it's kind of weird. It's like, that's one of my questions. It's like, why do we keep coming back? Why do I keep coming back? The one answer I get is love, but I want more.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's so screwed up. Look at what's going on this planet right now. It's like, oh my God.
But it's good. It's a good thing what's going on right now, because it's all needed to be uncovered and shown in order for us to move into 5D, to be in 5D. It's a good thing. And your question, I've asked that many, many times too.
Yeah.
And what I was getting, what I got was first of all, to remember who we are, and that is love, and bring that and be that on this planet, and to help though our other parts of us, because we're all
Yes.
a part,
Yep.
other parts.
Yeah. And I know Archangel Michael was just saying too, that exactly what you're saying is to help all the other parts of us and Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is a part of us too. She's an outward picturing of our nurturing mother and the abundance and all that kind of stuff for us. She's part of us. The elements that are earth are within our physical bodies too. And so Archangel Michael was just saying the same thing you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I just had a message from Yeshua the other day about that, Mother Earth, and he called her mother. He calls her our mother. But but of course that's not in the Bible. But yeah, about how she mirrors us and we mirror her.
Yeah.
We are mirrors for each other. I don't have it right here in front of me. But how we are, the mother is the mirror for the child, and the child is the mirror for the mother.
Yeah. And it makes sense, because we know, as humanity goes into this state of craziness, the planet, more earthquakes, crazy weather. And we know, that it's being manipulated, but it's all part of that same thing, right? We can say, oh, they're changing the weather, but if we're one, right? Either we are or we're not. We can't be like, well, we're all one sometimes, because that's what I used to do. I'm one with everything except for you, you, and
right.
you, right?
We can't just pick the ones that we prefer if we're going to be one with everything. It has to be everything. And that's what Ho'oponopono teaches us. Yeah. Which is really amazing teachings. But Ho'oponopono teaches us, if we want to take responsibility for the good that we manifest, we have to also take responsibility for what we call the bad.
Yeah, for all of it. And we're all one family. It's being in right relationship, and you have to be honest, and you have to be fair, and you have to be compassionate, and it's a lost art right now. Humanity is kind of lost that, not all of it, of course, but then the other parts I don't want to be one with.
I think humanity is at this how do you put it? When you go through a detox and you're at that point where you're like, oh, I'm so sick. Oh, I can't stand it. Oh, why did I do this kind of thing? So I believe that we're at that point right now where, and in some areas, in a detox, you're like, oh gosh, I got rid of that crap. Literally. Okay, I'm glad that's gone or whatever, but you're still at that feeling really crappy place. And the more you stick to it, the better you feel. And then you get rid of everything that has been piled on, that you've piled on, that we've piled on within our consciousness and our energy fields and body and everything like that. And so that's what we're doing.
And that's like when you detox too, your mind is set free.
Yes.
That's one of the things that I always notice. And wait, I'm getting excited. We talked about this before we got on too, was about it's kind of time for detox, maybe a little parasite detoxing. And I look forward to it because I literally feel like my mind has been set free when I do that, because it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, check out how bright the colors are, right? Oh, hey, look at the dust in the corner. I haven't seen that in a while. Clean it up now. But interesting. It's like we're in a great big giant parasite detox.
We are.
As a whole.
Look at what's going on around us. These are parasites. They're the ones that have the parasites. And I hate to say they and us, but it's true kind of in a way, we've helped it along because and I would say that a lot of it is not our fault because it was so manipulative. Humanity has been manipulated so much in the last few hundred years, especially, if not
thousands
longer.
of years.
If not longer.
But really, totally. Yes, the last. But and so now here's another part that I get stuck on too. So we're all one. So are we one with the truly evil beings that are doing what they're doing right now? Is that a oneness, or are we one under the light of what we would call God?
Right.
It's like what exactly are we talking about? Are we one with that negative entity? Are they part of God consciousness? Are they a separate thing? What is oneness? Oneness with what? Right?
Right. It's my understanding, and this is what I've been remembered and taught, is that there is nothing apart
Other.
from God, right? And that the reason that these entities are dense darkness feels
Fallen.
like it's separate from us is because it's in a very dense vibration,
Yeah.
right? And we,
Mm.
so there's
Mhm.
light and dark. We live in a world of a existence of duality, so there has to be light and dark.
We
The
gotta
only
change that
problem
whole
is
thing too.
the only we go back to just light. The only problem is it got out of balance.
Yeah, so far out of balance.
Right. And so that's why we're here. And what we're doing is to bring it back into balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what Archangel Michael just said. And I think you said this earlier too when we were talking, that it's the dark ones are just the ones that have lost their connection to the light, to God, if you will.
Yeah.
I know
It's
God can be
covered up.
such a trigger for, yeah.
Right. It's covered up, and that spark hasn't, that spark isn't there anymore. And
Yeah.
so, and we see people like that. We see people like that all around us too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, in, I live close to Portland, where I see, unfortunately, people on the streets that are so addicted to drugs and the homeless, where that has, their light has been, I'm not going to say extinguished because there's always light in someone, but it's been so covered up.
And you can see it in the eyes. I know I saw someone a few weeks ago and I looked in their eyes and I just got a chill to my bone. And they were a perfectly nice person, but there was, what was in there was almost gone.
Yeah.
And it actually was a very handsome young man, to be honest with you. But it was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's too bad, because these people, unfortunately, that and it just makes me sick to see these people on the streets that are, especially with the meth and things like that,
And fentanyl.
And fentanyl, yeah, that are I don't know about if that's such a bad addiction like meth is, but is it okay? Well, they will, in that part of us, I'm not going to say they anymore, but
that's how we talk right now, right? It's hard to, this is awesome.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the other, the being cut off,
the other part of the other parts of us. The other parts of us, work really hard on changing that language between them and us. The other parts of us, and now the music's going off in my phone. Boy, lots of messages
we
here.
Hitting jingle in somebody's jingles.
Lots of messages, right? Mustang
good.
Sally just came on my phone. Okay, all right.
They're saying, keep going, girls, keep going.
So the other parts of us, the ones we don't care for, our shadow selves.
Oh man, ooh, that just triggered me. I just wanted to almost go no. And it's true.
Our shadow selves.
Yep. Yep. It is being played out before us. That fallen part of us.
Right. Yeah, and having compassion, I guess, for our shadow selves, because we have compassion for our shadow self. Why can't we have compassion for our other shadow selves?
Because they're scary. That's why.
But we help create it.
I know. See, that's the thing. When I had my plant medicine experience, has been, what, 2 years ago? Oh my gosh. It was what I heard, felt, and was just imbued with is, you are the creator and you are the creation. You are both. And it was like, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. But I started having experiences, right? And what you just said falls right in there with that truth, is that we're all, it goes back to, we're that consciousness that from which everything is projected. And that's part of that too. My brain is starting to fizzle. Oh, you're turned off. Did you mute yourself?
I did.
We know that we're getting on some good topics when stuff like this happens. I mean, seriously, it's
I
like when
know,
it won't
right?
turn on or it gets interrupted or weird things are going, it means we are talking about important stuff.
Yeah, I feel the energy is really intense right now.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to say, I was trying to say that what you were talking about just reminded me of, or I saw this image, this, things play out in your mind. Being at the beach helps a lot with that, with clearing your head,
Yes.
right? And because I mentioned this when we were talking before, when I was going through my quickening, Kundalini awakening, which I didn't know what was happening with Yeshua, and he was showing me everything that's happening now. I saw all this,
Ooh.
but I didn't know it was future. I thought it was then and now, the now. And I was experiencing it, so to speak, in the
wow.
now. And that's what he was showing me, that that everything's in the now. That's what we were
Yes.
talking about. It's in the now. And I realized just now, in the now, it's being played out. The movie is being played out now from what I was experiencing. So it didn't have to happen all at once like it did for me 20 something years ago.
Then, yes.
And this is the same thing that people are talking about with what's going on with this war for the world, the Great Reset and everything. And we're watching, it's already happened.
Yeah.
We're watching it play out. We're watching kind of the movie kind of thing, and so we're watching it play out. And so it's holographic.
Yeah.
It's so holographic.
It goes back to that. And, it's interesting. Ever since I was a little girl, I knew I was going to be here for end days, right? Whatever that really means. Revelations.
Wow.
I studied this stuff when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I've done like Bible studies, I think 3 times, and particularly focused on Revelations because I knew I would be here during this really, really important time. I knew that it was kind of why I was here. I mean, I wouldn't have said it that way when I was young, but now that I'm older, it's like, that's why I'm here. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, but I know that I'm supposed to be here. But it is, again, it's watching it play out. It's like we filmed the movie, we edited it, we added music, we added sound effects. It's in the can. And now it's in the theater and we're watching it.
Right. And we helped pick all the actors.
I picked all the handsome ones for anyone that wants to know. And I picked Sharon because she's just good.
We picked each other. Yes. Yeah. I know. And we're killing it. This movie is amazing.
It is.
Every time I see another news story,
focus.
Yeah, keep our focus. And it's, and it's more than just sitting back and watching, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We are the actors we have a role in the movie.
Yes.
In the reality of what we're dealing with.
But I keep forgetting my lines. I start doing the bad people's lines, where it's like, this is so stupid. What am I doing here? And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Those aren't my lines.
Right. Yeah. And that's when we get caught up in the mojo that bad mojo that's being bombarded at us.
The other matrix.
Thinking that it's real.
And timelines.
Timelines.
We're talking about timelines. It's you get caught in another timeline, but it's all part of the same movie. Like
Right.
the movie The Matrix.
Yes.
I gotta go watch it again now.
So we were talking about timelines, and I wanted to just touch on this one gal I used to follow a long time ago, 20 something years ago. I always go back to that time because that's where things just boom blew open for me, and now we're living it, right? Her name was Starfire Tor, and she and this was before social media was the way it is now. So I was on her social media group, and there weren't a lot of us, maybe a couple hundred or something at that time. And she talked about timeline manipulation, and that she could tell, she was teaching us how to tell, just like in the Matrix, when there was a timeline interference, a glitch. In the Matrix, we talked about where Neo sees a black cat walk across his path twice, and he goes, "Oh, that's weird." And they say, "What?" And he tells them, they're like, "Uh-oh, something's going on." That means that they inserted an agent into the Matrix. But she talked about how when something like that, like a deja vu, oh my gosh, we were just talking about deja vu.
Yes.
When a deja vu happens, some kind of that's what it was. The deja vu, because he said, "Oh, that was deja vu, deja vu." Woo, and we just had them. All right.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
you and I kind of had it like it was today, right?
Yes,
It
we
was
had them
earlier
today.
today. Do,
So,
do, do, do,
right.
do, 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 do.
These are timeline glitches. So
Wow. And that we both showed up in the ocean.
we totally.
We're living it. We're living the dream, baby.
I know. So the question is, because when she talked about it, she said that if it's a some kind of if it's a big timeline manipulation, then it can create, and most of the time does create, earthquakes, those type upheavals. And we just had earthquakes a few days ago around the planet, in
Big
our
ones.
country. I think there was a big one in Georgia. There's a whole bunch of birds flying. I know, squirrel, but just tons of birds are flying by. Wow, this is crazy. And tons. So what happened a couple days ago, what happened a few days ago, right? So she talks about pay attention to these little glitches, deja vus. And maybe now that we're talking, Michele, maybe we can use that, and that might be what she was talking about. We can use that as a jumping off place for moving up to a much higher timeline.
Interesting. I like that because it makes sense. It makes sense because why all of a sudden did reality become fluid like that?
Right.
I mean, because that's how I experience it, like this, like kind of a thing where it's like, it's not this, it's, I don't even know what the word is.
Fluid.
We need new language for this, but fluid, it feels fluid. It feels like that. And it's just interesting too, that we both had this experience. We both showed up with the water. We both are, we're like about talking this, you're reading that book, you're reading, I'm listening to this guy. We're doing this all like today at the same time during this glitch after we just had these major earthquakes. There's been, I know, 2 huge ones down Papua New Guinea, off the east coast of Australia down there. Huge ones, like 7.8 or something.
Yeah, I saw 7.8 or 6 or something. Yeah. By the way, the book I'm reading now is called The Great Reset. It's backwards.
And the
I
war
can't read
for
it
the world.
And the War for the World from Alex Jones. And I know Alex Jones is very controversial, but I've been following him for a very long time. And what he's been saying for a very long time is coming to fruition. And this is really good. He's has a lot of humor in here. And it's a really good book. I
And
think
you know
it's
what's
good to be aware of what's happening, and don't take my word for it. Don't take his word for it. Go with your own intuition. But there is a war for humanity.
Mhm. We have beautiful souls, and it stands to reason those who have fallen away, those who are disconnected, their nature, their creation is we'll call this God, right? The impulse is to return to that, to
Right.
need that for sustenance, right? We talk about that parasitic energy, and we're the closest thing to that. So instead of getting it direct from source, it's from
That
those
makes
who still
sense.
carry the source, who are
Right.
still connected to the source. And so it makes sense that that would be what's happening.
Right.
Wow.
I know.
And all the more reason to have compassion with an iron fist, but compassion.
Well, we are spiritual warriors. And I always go back to Archangel Michael and what he says, your truth is your sword and love is your shield.
Yeah. Yep. It's very true. And we have to stand in that. And that's one of the part of the reason why I still love some of these Bible warriors who are like, stand in the truth of the word of God. And it's like, yes, well, the right words of God, but yes, right? It's been a little wiggled, but yeah. And the timelines and the shifting timelines and the whole Mandela effect thing too.
Yeah.
Again, more timeline things. And I was watching, okay, help me with this, Nicholas Vanayaman.
Venemian.
Love him. Nicholas, I apologize. I cannot say your name. I'm sure you've had other people have this problem.
And he says it so fast, it's hard to follow what he's.
I know, it's like
vitamin.
Maybe it's vitamin. Nicholas Vitamin. Got it. Okay. But he's talking about the Mandela effect. And he brought up 3 things. And he kind of blew my mind. And I've heard these things before, but I kind of was like, yeah. But for some reason today, on Glitch Day, on Deja Vu Day, I really heard it. He's talking about the thing with the Berenstain Bears. I remember, because I used to read those books to my kids all the time. I love them. I was a bear person. I collected teddy bears. Everything for both of my kids were teddy bears. We were a bear family, and Berenstain Bear was part of our family. And I remember when the name changed and thinking, well, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Wow. All 40 books I had, or 32 books I had, I must have been reading them wrong. Oh, the other one was Kennedy. When Kennedy was assassinated, he was talking about how he remembers 4 people in the car. And he went back and we're watching some videos, and there were 6 people in the car. And I went, no,
there was 4.
There were 4 people in the car.
2 in the front and 2 in the back.
2 in the front and 2 in the back. And he said that he has been trying to find that video.
I never heard about that.
Yeah. And then actually what it's called, the Mandela effect, is the whole thing about some people remember Mandela getting out of jail, and some people remember him dying in jail.
I remember him dying in prison.
And I remember him getting out because he said that like he spoke these words: if I die in jail with the bitterness in my heart, I've learned nothing. Right. And I can't quote that, but that was basically what it is. Right. And I remember him getting out.
Yeah.
I remember
him getting out, but I thought at the time he died in prison. I knew that he had died. I remember hearing that he had died in prison, reading it, hearing it, experiencing it, that he had died in prison. And then he's like, and then I'm in that timeline. We're in that timeline of where he actually gets out of prison. And it really
Oop, we froze again. Do 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 pa 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 do 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 do. Mandela effect. What's going on? Do, 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 do.
Well, you froze on me this time. I guess we're not allowed to talk about.
Well, we did and we are going to. So on whatever's coming in and doing that,
Exactly.
we will not be tamed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was singing the tequila song. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Tequila.
I couldn't even. Well, we are at the beach, so yeah.
How it has to
Although
roll.
I can't do tequila anymore ever since I got so sick on it many, many moons ago.
I drank so much in Mexico one time, the rocks were glowing.
Woo.
Haven't drank it much since then. I was sick for like a week, but it was really cool when I was on it.
Now that's psychedelics right there.
Yeah, I think there was a worm involved there somewhere, but
So,
oh, that's
bottom
what
of the
happens when you
bottle.
drink tequila.
Yeah, tequila's. Ooh, yeah, gives me the chills to think about it.
I can't even drink alcohol anymore. It's like,
Yeah, me either.
mm-mm. But yeah, the whole Mandela effect, that whole thing's changing. And I'm wondering with our viewers, like, have you guys had these experiences, like the deja vus, the Mandela effect kind of things? I would think it'd be really interesting to hear from you guys,
Yes.
because it's like the more of us that talk about it and share, the more of us are going to remember these things. Because if one of us went through it, it's a timeline shift. It's not like just we had a timeline shift.
Right.
I mean, it has to affect the masses, right?
Yeah.
I would think.
Oh yeah. Because we're not an island for sure.
You have one behind you, though.
Those are clouds. Like I disappeared.
Oh, I thought there was an island back there.
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe it's a boat.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Island boat, whatever.
That's my boat waiting for me
I
as I get done here. Like, yeah, they've got tequila waiting for me and a pool boy to feed it to me.
Yay,
Okay.
Cabana boy.
Yeah, cabana boy. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, this is so cool. And it all comes back to the mind.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening in the mind? And when you go that route and then you look at what's happening on this planet, you look at, like, I don't even know if I want to tap onto this one, but just like what our leaders on this planet are doing. It's like, what is happening? How did this spin so far off the axis
Mm-hmm.
so quickly?
Yeah.
Or seemingly so quickly?
Well, it was pretty quick. Yeah, I believe they're playing a role to help the Great Awakening.
Awakening
This is, yeah.
to spin us off, to make people absolutely insane, crazy, and violent and cuckoo.
Maybe not that. No. I mean, I'm sure that's the. I don't. None of us have all the answers, but I feel that this is my take on it. What's going on right now is, like we were talking about, is the playing out of the awakening of humanity, bringing us into remembering our sovereign selves, and fighting for basically our sovereign selves, our freedoms as a sovereign being. Yeah. And so we can't be ignorant anymore. We can't keep our heads in the sand. So what I understand is it's like we were talking about before, it's been done. It's already happened in the higher timelines. We are watching it and being a part of it in these timelines. And the more we open up and become aware of it, I realize that this is part of the movie, or part of that everyone has a role.
Right.
Okay, everyone has a role, and it's part of that. Then the more our mind opens up, the more of the matrix we are moving through, to get to the higher matrices.
Shedding, yeah.
Yeah. And so and then it's part of that, and part of the Great Awakening is the only thing I can say. I mean, my piece would call it the golden age, the grand plan,
Right.
things like that.
Right. New Earth.
New Earth.
Because it's, my little nerdy brain is like, I want to take every single thing that we talked about today, all the 15 different pieces of it, and I want to make it all fit together.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have, like you said, we don't have all the answers, of course, because it's consciousness, but it's like today has been quite a day of mind opening, expanding. And it's interesting too, because we know the power of numbers and number sequences and frequency. When all of this was going on, the deja vu, listening to the vitamin guy. Sorry, Nicholas. And then talking to you, you had a similar thing. The whole time I was doing accounting work. And so I was numbers, adding numbers. And all those different frequencies and stuff that go with the numbers.
Yeah, numbers are everything.
Yeah. It's interesting. Matter of fact, a lot of people, because I know you're a numbers girl too. You were a bookkeeper at one time too. Well, I'm a bookkeeper. I say an accountant, but I was CPA for like this amount of time. Yeah. And I went, screw that crap. I'm not doing that.
Just a title, didn't matter.
Yeah. But it seems like a lot of people that are in the spiritual realm were accounting people in the past.
Really?
Yeah, I know a lot of them.
Oh, okay.
A lot of them, yeah.
Oh, Preston's a bookkeeper too.
Yeah.
Preston, yeah.
Yeah, and my good friend Danielle Hewitt, she her and her husband have an accounting firm. It's what they do, but she's a very beautiful soul that's has had a beautiful she called it the temple of light here, and sponsored and nurtured and all kinds of spiritual people and classes and all that stuff, and in her own growth too.
So maybe it has to do with keeping us balanced,
activating.
Activating. The numbers do that. I mean, numbers are all about balance to me. And it's amazing.
It's interesting. It all goes together.
Right. So I don't know if I finished my thought before, but what I was going to say was, unless I didn't, just don't remember, with this movie that we're watching, it has to play out. It has to play out to help people realize, okay, this is what can happen. And do you want this timeline?
Yeah.
With the Great Reset.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. Yeah.
And the idea with the reset too that's interesting is I've been hearing people talking about there's been many resets.
Yes.
Noah, the flood thing was a reset. And we're becoming really a lot more information coming up about Tartaria and mud floods and the time of the giants and the dinosaurs.
Yeah, right? But like we don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to do that anymore. Yeah. That's what the awakening is all about, right?
I hope. Unless we awaken and they're like, welcome to the 5D. Okay, now the next reset is
no.
I'm like, no more reset. I'm not doing this anymore if you guys keep resetting everything. We work so hard.
It makes me think of, and we talked about this being in a computer game, right? It makes me think of in the computer game when it gets to where it gets too
hard.
Too difficult, and also maybe too many viruses get in it or something, then you just hit the reset button.
Or it comes up and went, fail, start over, how many players? Or Groundhog Day.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to beat this crap. Okay, I'm gonna be some crap.
I know, as long as it gets a little bit better each day, and that sun is really, the sun is setting.
I know, I can see that shining on you.
Yeah. So as long as it gets a little bit better each day.
Yeah.
And a little, I always say it's not a good day if I haven't learned something new.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so
Absolutely.
as long as each day is we try something new or we step outside our comfort zone, we smile to someone that we wouldn't normally smile at, we, do something to lift our frequency
Yeah.
each day,
And be passionate.
then we don't have to worry about being somebody hitting, or all of us hitting the reset button.
The great reset is just the finish of the movie and the start of a new one.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a different.
Yeah, except I don't want to be part of this reset.
No. Oh, is that a bad reset?
Oh yeah, that's the Klaus Schwab reset.
Oh.
That's why people need to read this. This is a Klaus Schwab. Yeah, and it's yeah, we don't want this
That's
one.
one I do not want to be one with. I
No,
don't care
this
what the
is
rules are.
This is not a good reset.
Yeah.
And he makes it sound like it is, with all these flowery language. And that's what Alex Jones does. He breaks it down. It's like, okay, so what this is telling me is, and he uses the word stakeholder a lot. He says, whenever you hear the word stakeholder, you should think of it as a weapon Schwab and company will use to deprive a person of their rights. Basically, stakeholder or corporations, and so yeah. And when you hear
So
stakeholder,
you give me what's yours and I'll hold it for you.
yes, what is, and I'm sure people have heard this, that Schwab has said, you will own nothing and you will like it. Yeah, you will be happy. You will be happy.
Yeah, ask China how that's working for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. So anyway, it's good stuff. And I know about Klaus Schwab. I've heard about him for quite a while now, and our audience is very smart, so I'm sure they have. But this is,
and if you haven't, go look it up because it's everywhere. All this stuff is public knowledge. That's the thing. That's the thing that's really mind-blowing, is everything is public knowledge. It's just learning how to find it, right? Where to find the information, how to find it, and using your intuition when getting into it too.
yeah. Well, Klaus Schwab has written books, and the first one was called the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and something like that. But it didn't take off the way he wanted it to. So then he wrote a sequel to it with more flowery language, to try, and it's all manipulation. And so, doesn't this sound good? Wouldn't this be good? So I love the way he breaks it down and makes us see through the bull crap, Yeah.
I need to check it out.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. Hopefully we won't get that far, that we won't have to wade our way out of getting that far into that thing, because it's looming,
Right. And that's why it's so important for us. And this is this book was just released. So
what, a year ago?
No, just now. It just came out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it just came out. So yeah, being awareness is always the key. Yeshua's always told me that awareness is the key. And it doesn't mean we have to go out and do something, and drastic. Just be aware of what's going on around us and not buy into it. And like you were saying, Michele, and having that awareness within you and that connection, because he also talks about, because Klaus Schwab is an atheist, George Soros is an atheist. They fully admit it.
Well, they don't believe in the God we believe in.
They don't believe in that. No, that's somebody else. But so if you notice, people who are angry, miserable, do not, all these things that are the negative side, I guess the dark side, don't have that God stream flowing through them. Don't have a belief, a faith. It doesn't have to be our God, but any, an infinite intelligence, something, consciousness, the universe, whatever it is, and have that within them, that flow.
And they're so disconnected, and that's why they're capable of manipulating to the levels that they are and do the horrible things. And I mean, unleashing a virus and then a
Yes.
jibbity jabbity on an entire population of an entire planet.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, gosh darn it, you got to give him credit.
Well, right.
It's like that was well done. Horrible idea, but well done. It's
But
like,
it didn't go
wow.
like they wanted.
No, it did not. And
It did
why?
not
Because
go
enough of us were aware and said, no,
Yeah.
we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're
The
not-
C-19 was supposed to kill a lot more people
Yeah.
than it did.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that didn't buy into their lies. A lot of people.
Well, that's why they had to throw him in the hospital and
murder him.
Yep.
But that's a whole other video.
That's
on Rumble.
Yeah, that's a Rumble. Matter of fact, we're probably going to snip that part out. So well, remember when there used to be edits when people were talking, they'd be like, and then the voice would come over and go, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Do you remember those ones?
I see people do that still.
It's awesome.
Or
And then one more thing that I want to bring in on this really, really quick with the timeline things and all that stuff is there are books that were written in the past that are associated with the Trump family. I think with Trump's son.
I have those books.
With Barron.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been hearing people say that Trump's a time traveler.
Mm-hmm.
The reason he's one step ahead of everybody is because he's from the future.
Yeah.
There's more timeline stuff, right?
The Baron Trump, Adventures of Baron Trump.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good book?
It's crazy. Yeah. It's a little hard to follow, but I haven't read the whole thing, but I do have all three of them. And it's interesting to say the least. And what's really funny is that he looks exactly like Trump's son. He looks exactly like Barron.
Yeah.
The face.
Yeah.
Looks exactly like Barron.
Yeah. And you can even see as Barron's getting older, he looks like Trump when he was younger.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a video on YouTube about it with Trump's dad, I believe it was, or grandfather, who apparently, supposedly, according to the video,
New Tesla.
Yeah, I got the information of time traveling from Tesla. So you've seen that video then? Yeah. Who knows?
That's a whole other timeline thing. We didn't cover half of the stuff that we could have. Because it's all connected and it's all happening right now. Mm-hmm. No wonder the human mind is just kind of like going, frazzling, because it's all coming together. Like you said at the very beginning of this video, all those people sitting on the beach and your memory, your thought, what came to you was all just bringing timelines together.
Yeah. Chills.
So cool.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
It is.
Thank you. And I can't believe we've been on here for, probably an hour and a half. It's 5:55 right now.
Yeah. And what's really even cooler is you that are watching us are cool. You're amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are the wind beneath our wings. You guys are the players in our movie.
But we are the players in yours.
And vice versa. And you guys are doing good job. And the check is in the mail. We're not sure how much you're getting paid to be actors in this great epic film. But the check is in the mail.
We haven't been paid enough to be in this movie.
I know. No kidding, right? I'm like, I need to renegotiate that contract.
I just heard our rewards are coming. They're coming. Checks in the mail.
Rewards are in heaven.
Rewards are in heaven. Yeah.
Okay, I'm out. I'm out. How do I get there? Done. I don't want to do it anymore.
That's funny.
Oh my God. All right, honey, this has been fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with our crazy talk about crazy things. And you know what? It's all good. It's all fun. And let us know what you think. And make sure you subscribe, share this video. Let people know what we're talking about. We're talking about stuff. Get the little ring-a-ding-a bell down there, and come on back. We got
Yeah.
videos coming out every Thursday-ish.
Ish.
Ish.
Well, we'll record it Thursday.
Yep. And
Yeah.
our lives are the fourth Thursday of every month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So come visit us in the fifth dimension. We'll put a ladder down for you.
Well, hopefully this doesn't bring them, does bring them, not them, bring everyone, all those parts of us in the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
Because we are here, we are here, we are here. Paul Selig, his teachings. I am here, I am here, I am here.
I am here.
In the upper room. We are in the upper room.
Oh, I like that. Oh, didn't Jesus talk, wasn't his teaching about being in the upper rooms or
Probably.
in the upper? I remember something about that.
Well, Paul Selig, yeah, he you know Paul Selig, he channels the guides. Yeah.
Mhm.
In the upper room. I am here, I am here, I am here.
I love it.
It's
all good. It's all good. We
All
love
right,
you.
peeps. Mwah. We love you.
Peeps. Beep, 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 beep.
Peace.
Mwah. Adios.